Building guitars is a lot like golfing. Now, I know that sounds kind of weird, but hear me out with this. When it comes to building a guitar, especially the first time that you build a guitar, you quickly become aware of the need for specialized tools and the techniques that are necessary for making the guitar. Well, the same is true with playing golf. You need specialized tools and you need a certain skill set in order to be successful. Now, the reason why I'm comparing golf to building guitars, because in truth, you could really compare just about any kind of hobby pursuit or interest with building guitars. But I chose golf because years ago, I was having dinner with a friend of mine, and he was an avid golfer. But he was basically a mediocre golfer. However, he had invested a ridiculous amount of money buying all kinds of gadgets and gizmos in order to help him improve his game. And his wife joked that they had a room in their house filled with all these gadgets and gimmicks, yet despite all the money he has spent and all the lessons he had taken, he was still just an average golfer. And I find that's probably true with a lot of people who play golf. They want so badly to improve their game that they will spend ridiculous amounts of money for all these gadgets and gizmos and take all kinds of lessons in the hopes of improving their game. And in most cases, they never really improve beyond an average player. They might see some small incremental improvements by using some of these gadgets, but for the most part, they're never going to end up on the PGA Tour circuit. Well, the same is true with building guitars. We tend to easily gravitate towards tools that, when we watch how they're being used, especially here on YouTube, we tend to think, what a great idea. I'm going to buy that tool and it's going to help me to improve my ability to set up a guitar that I build. There's also the issue of learning all the different skills and the techniques necessary to make a guitar. And it can be intimidating at first. So we tend to be attracted to techniques that we see used on YouTube that seem to make making a guitar so easy. And we see these techniques being used in a lot of other pursuits, not just with building guitars, but we'll watch videos on how somebody is joining pieces of wood together and some creative ways that they may clamp the wood together. I'm guilty of doing the same thing myself in my YouTube videos. I show a lot of tricks and techniques that I use to help make building the guitar easier to do. For example, when I glue a fretboard onto a neck, I'll put a couple little pinches of salt because it acts like an abrasive and will hold the two pieces together as I clamp them down. Normally, a fretboard will have a tendency to slip and slide around on the wet glue, but by using that little pinch of salt, that keeps that from happening. So I can glue up the fretboard without worry about the fretboard slipping under clamping pressure, which could be a disaster once the glue is dried. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, you can show your support by clicking the thumbs up button down below. It's free to do. You can also click the subscribe button, which is also free. And when you do that, you can click the bell for notifications. That way you'll never miss any future content. But if you want to take your support to the next level, you can click the thanks button and leave a tip in the amount that you think is fair, or you can click the join button or the subscribe plus button and become a member of my channel. And as a member, you're going to be able to enjoy videos just like the one you're watching, but with much more detail and, best of all, no ads. Now let's get back to the video. But there are all sorts of other little tips and tricks and techniques that I've used over the years and then I demonstrate in my videos. And it's sort of the same situation when it comes to playing golf. You can watch lots of videos on how to improve your swing, how to putt better, how to chip better. And it can seem as you watch those videos to be so easy to do it. But then when you actually do it, you don't necessarily play better. And it can be kind of frustrating. And I think that's the reason why a lot of golfers will go through golf clubs so much, because the golf club that they're using doesn't live up to the expectation that they hoped it would, and they see this new titanium driver or this composite driver out there, and they think, oh, that's got to be better. So they'll buy it and then find out that it doesn't work. I was at a friend's house once for a barbecue, and he was showing off this new carbon fiber golf club that he had. And he was out in the backyard swinging with this golf club. And he accidentally hit the ground too hard, and it snapped the shaft in half. And my response was, wow, how much did that cost? So we're all guilty of it. You know, when we're trying to be better guitar builders or better golfers, or maybe you're trying to be a better fly fisherman or a better bass fisherman, or you know, whatever. Maybe your interest is playing adult soccer or softball or whatever, and we're always trying to find ways to be better at it so that when we show up, our friends are impressed with our skills and we're willing to spend ridiculous amounts of money to do this. Well, the same is true with building guitars. And even though I make a lot of videos where I try to show you tips and techniques and I review some tools that I think might be useful, I also try to talk about what I think is a waste of time and why you should avoid certain tools and techniques as well. But the end result is not to scare you away, it's to try to help you achieve success. Because until you do it, you're never going to know if you'll be successful doing it. But I think it's important to approach it with a grain of salt. Some of these tools and techniques, even though I may make it look easy to do, they do require experience and a lot of practice in order to master them. Watching a video will kind of get your foot in the door, but it isn't necessarily going to guarantee success the first time out. You may find it's going to take some practice and some experience in order to master the skill that's necessary. So when you're thinking about doing a guitar with lots of fancy inlay on the fretboard, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 ply binding around the perimeter of the body or the headstock, just know that those skills require a lot of experience to master them. And I don't want you to watch a video and think, oh, I can do that, and then invest all the time and money to do it, only to find out that it was a lot harder than you thought it was. So I hope you find this video to be useful and thought-provoking, perhaps. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, click that thumbs up button. And of course, you can do some of the things I mentioned earlier in the video if you'd like to take your support to the next level, which would benefit you because as a member of the channel, you're going to learn a lot more about guitar building than just watching my regular videos. And as always, until the next episode, take care, stay safe, and I hope you'll be back for more of my guitar building videos.